months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Juice, Mom. Juice, juice, juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store?
Mom, I want juice.
Mom.
Juice, juice, juice.
Mommy.
Juice, juice, juice.
Mom.
Juice, juice.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. That's right, the car seat. A car seat isn't one size fits all. You have to have the right seat based on your child's age, weight, and height. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. But there's a website that gives you all the information you need. safercar.gov/the-right-seat. You'll find out about types of seats, when to have a seat rear-facing, when to switch it to forward-facing, when it's time for a booster seat, and when it's time for your child to ride in the back seat with a seatbelt. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Talk 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470, WNN, with more of what you need to know. Don't miss A Touch of Gray, Saturday afternoons at 1 on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, tune in to the Dr. Bob Martin Show. From erectile dysfunction to eczema, heartburn to headaches, carpal tunnel to how to lower cholesterol drug-free. Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
And now a successful student from Online Trading Academy in South Florida tells how much money he's making after taking a class at Online Trading Academy.
I mean, what would you say you're averaging here, a week or a month in the market?
Well, I've been doing rather well. I've been averaging about $3,000 a month. What I mainly do, Blake, is I trade futures, and if you do it by the OTA rules, there's a good chance that you can make money doing it that way.
For almost 2 decades, Online Trading Academy has taught over 200,000 students of all ages around the world the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. Real classrooms, hands-on training by instructors who are certified, currently trade, and are profitable. Attend a free class at Online Trading Academy, South Florida. Seating is free but limited. Free half-day classes in Broward and Palm Beach. Call now for you and a guest. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. That's 561-674-9800.
This is Talk 1470.
Talk 1470.
WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
I think we got to get rid of that Renee.
Aw.
Well, she writes the morning show. We've got a 3-hour show every morning, but she can never come in. Now it's the award-winning Steve-O and Renee show. We won the New Times Reader's Choice Best AM Personalities. I love doing the show. It goes by so fast.
It does.
Some of our shows don't go by this fast. And we've got an extra treat for you today because right after this show, we will be replaying attorney Tina Lewert's last month's show. So if you missed part of today's show, you can listen to in the next half hour. We're going to talk about the sad subject of divorce. So I just laid that because I know she's so good. You're certified. You're board certified.
Correct.
There's not a lot of board certified family attorneys.
That's right. And I say this every single month. You guys say, what does it mean to be board certified? And I talk about what it means. And it's a designation of being an expert. You're an expert in your area of law, which in my case is marital and family law. And I always say, oh, I think there are about 300 of us in the state, something like that. Well, I looked it up this week.
Oh,
Something
you did?
made me look it up, yeah, because we got a few colleagues of mine this year. They give the exam every year, and a few colleagues I know became board certified. And I was wishing them congratulations because it's a big deal.
It is.
It's a
That's
big
300
process.
in the whole state of Florida.
So the number is 274.
Wow, it's not even 300.
It's not even 300. 274 attorneys in the entire state of Florida out of 102,000 attorneys
At least.
are board certified in family law. So what that means is, yes, it's a designation. It's a Florida bar's designation of an expert. It's the only expert designation by the bar. If you're not board certified, you cannot advertise yourself as being an expert or being a specialist.
And Tina, tell people, just because you're board certified doesn't mean your rates are higher than everybody else's.
Well, I will tell you, the bar says that you can actually charge more because you're board certified, but you have to talk to different attorneys, and everyone's different, and it's different even just by county and geographical area, even within the state of Florida. I mean, the state of Florida is huge, but there are attorneys out there that charge a much higher rate. There are some attorneys out there that are board certified that are not board certified that charge a lot more than some attorneys that are board certified. And it just depends. There's so many things that go into what's a reasonable hourly rate, the person's qualifications and experience and all of that. But you would probably expect to pay a little more for a board certified attorney because frankly, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
But it doesn't have to be outrageous. I mean, you can look around and I know, there are a few of us who are still, within a very reasonable hourly rate,
And if there's some litigation involved, you want to make sure that you have someone who's really good, because I don't know how much you know this, but there's so many people that walk around, I had the worst attorney. They didn't know what they were doing. And sometimes I bet you if you look back, they had a boutique of things that they did. You just do family law.
I just do family law, correct. And there are a lot of attorneys out there that do, solely family law, but there are a lot that dabble, that's what I call it. They dabble in family law, and, no disrespect to anyone, but if you're practicing family law and you're practicing criminal law and you're practicing personal injury law and you're doing 20 different areas of the law or taking whatever, and I think that maybe years ago that was more common. Nowadays I see more attorneys specializing and focusing on one area of the law, and that's how I've always done it in my entire practice. That's what I've done. I've always done family law and nothing else but family law, and I think that really it's a benefit to me because I can really focus my knowledge and learn all things family law. I don't have to be focused. There's so much to know in one area of the law, much less 5 or 10 areas of law. And also, it's a benefit to the clients because they know that if this is the attorney's focus and this is their thing, they're going to every seminar and continuing education course and always up to date on the latest developments in the law and statutes, and it's important that somebody really knows what they're doing, especially in this area where people's lives, their children, how much money they're going to wind up with. I mean, these are big things. These are people's everything. These things are at stake in these cases. So you want someone who knows the area of law.
Listen, Renee will tell you she had an attorney that practiced a lot of different areas of law. Her ex-husband had an attorney that did strictly family law, and all she tells me is, I got screwed. They were so much better than my attorneys. And you don't want to be in a position like that.
No.
So sometimes it's really important that maybe you spend a few extra bucks. Listen, we think that you are the best attorney down here. And because you're certified, you're board certified, we can actually say that legally,
correct,
too. So what I did was I said, I'm going to surprise Tina this week.
Oh, great.
Because she
I love
knows the
surprises.
question. And so what I did is I went on Twitter, which I love doing. I went on Twitter and I said, we have Tina Lewert's going to be coming on with us this Thursday. If you live in the state of Florida, you have a family law question, tell them what time the show comes on. They can watch it on iHeart. They can watch it on NN here. Give us your questions. I thought, man, I get 2 or 3. Barrage. I still got one this morning, and I haven't written.
Wow.
I haven't even looked at them I guess I didn't write anything else in there since Monday afternoon. I didn't think we were going to get some money, but
wow.
So I'm going to throw questions at you. You won't have any problems at all.
Shoot, go for it.
What is your name?
What do you got?
Where were you born?
Whoa, yeah.
No, I'm just going to kind of move around. How is child support or alimony enforced? I didn't think we had alimony here, do we?
We do have alimony here. Yeah. We have, and we've talked about this before. There a couple of times in the past few years they've been trying to reform alimony for a number of years. So this past year, there was what they're calling an alimony reform bill.
That's right.
To not do away with alimony, but change the way alimony is structured, change the way it's determined, figure out a formula for alimony. Right now, and for many years, we do not and have not had a formula for determining alimony. We have a formula for determining child support. So child support is based on incomes, both parties' incomes, how many children there are, some other factors that go in, like the children's health insurance premiums and who's paying it, and how many overnights each party has per year with the children. So there's a formula, but to figure out child support, you have to first figure out alimony. If there's alimony, how much is it? Because alimony is income.
So how would you figure alimony out?
Good question. So there's the statute. The statute in Florida is 61.08, Florida statutes, and there are a number of factors. I believe 10 factors that the court can consider in figuring out if it's an alimony case, and if so, how much alimony should be, and for what duration. And so it's because there are statutory factors. It's a little more abstract. It's not a numerical calculation or numerical formula.
Depends on the judge.
It depends on a lot of things. I mean, it's ultimately based on numbers, but I always tell people you could put an alimony case in front of 5 different judges, 10 different judges, and potentially get that many different outcomes because it's so discretionary. The major factors, the first things usually you look at are the length of the marriage. That determines is alimony, if there's alimony, is it short term, long term, moderate term, and we have different names for those things, different types of alimony. Is it just, temporary, bridging the gap from married life to single life for a couple of years? Is it permanent alimony? We've had, a 20, 30, 40-year marriage and one spouse has been out of the workforce for that long and they're not go out and earn enough to be self-supporting and they need the other spouse to continue to support them. There are all sorts of different factors. And then you look at, obviously, the disparity in the incomes, the disparity in the earning capacities, contributions to the marriage. What was the deal? What was the arrangement between the parties? Sometimes they structure their marriage. A lot of people where, one person's going out and working, the other person's staying home with the children, maybe raising the family, taking care of the house and the kids, and helping to support the breadwinner.
Do you come in with a number that you present to the judge?
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the judges, when you go in, and you're in a divorce trial and you have an alimony claim, they will say, sort of from your opening statement, they'll say, how much do you want? What is it? What's your number?
Cut to the chase.
Yeah, cut to the chase. And, and cutting to the chase, sure, it sounds easy, but it's sometimes it's a function of you're bringing in, forensic accountants to do what they call a lifestyle analysis. What was the party's budget during the marriage? What was the standard of living during the marriage? How much does, let's say, the wife, if she's the alimony recipient, how much does she need to live? And to maintain as close to a standard of living as she had during the marriage, and then what's the alimony's taxable because it's income, so she's going to have to pay taxes on that. So what's the after tax effect? And so you have CPAs, you have financial experts come in and testify, and they've got charts and spreadsheets and summaries, and they do beautiful work. The professionals that we use, and then they come out with here's the number that we really want. Here are some options and what the numbers come out and what they look like, under different circumstances. And
how long does that go on for? Is that an hour or is that an all-day procedure?
It could be hours of testimony.
Wow.
Because you've got, you're presenting your expert, and then the other attorney has the opportunity to cross-examine, and then the other side might have their own expert to say, well, this is what our guy came up with, or girl. And so, it can be, it can take up a big part of a trial.
I don't quite understand this question. What is the time frame for establishing paternity?
The time frame.
Is there a such thing as a time frame?
I don't know, like a
maybe they're
like
from
a
another
statute of
state.
limitations or something. Yeah.
Is there a statute of limitations?
No. There isn't a time frame, but there are certain things that, especially for the father. If a father's trying to establish their own paternity, like, hey, this child is mine, I want to have rights, I want to have time sharing, I want to have a relationship with a child, they have to be careful about what they do. They have to be careful about, someone else possibly taking on support for their child, or there's certain things that you have to do to make sure that you can legally establish paternity. But no, I mean, if there's really no time limit.
I want to get this one in before we go to break. How can I obtain a restraining order?
Oof.
Somebody's having problems.
Yeah, well, the quick and dirty way is to go down to the courthouse. You can hire an attorney. In many circumstances, you should hire an attorney so that the attorney will know what allegations legally need to be made. To make sure that you're fully alleging everything and putting everything out there so that you get the restraining order. But there's a petition that's filed, a petition for injunction for protection against domestic violence. That's
Please
what
tell
it's
me
called.
it doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't take long. I mean, if somebody really were in an urgent situation, they could go down to the courthouse and file this. They can wait for the judge to enter an order on it. And what they'll do is, if the judge says, okay, yeah, I think there are enough facts, you actually have a narrative of what happened. Something just happened typically.
But laymen wouldn't really know. I mean, you really do need an attorney.
There's a form, and sometimes it's hard, and I've seen people go and do this on their own, and they don't know what to say or what sort of. Yes, frankly, there are some key words that coincide with the legal the legal merits and the requirements of the statute, the domestic violence statutes, and so they may or may not know like what's important and what's not important, and they say
this is important. I mean,
it's important.
Someone's life could be at stake.
So we file a petition for injunction, and the judge will look at the petition, look at the allegations, decide if there's enough there to grant it on a temporary basis. They will typically grant it on a temporary basis for about 2 weeks and then it's effective immediately. The sheriff will serve the other party with it. And
how long does that take, though?
It could, hopefully quick, hopefully the same day, or as soon as they get to them. So hopefully that happens, within a day or 2 or 3 at the most. And then they'll, within that order, there's usually a hearing date to come back 2 weeks later. Everybody appears before the judge with a full-blown evidentiary hearing, meaning there's testimony and evidence, and you can bring witnesses if anyone has knowledge, and they testify. The person petitioning will testify. This is what happened. This is why I'm in fear, and this is why I need protection. And then the other, party has the right to defend themselves. But yeah, it's a you're opening a case in civil court and. Filing a petition.
Give everybody your phone number. We're going to go to break. Give everybody your phone number.
Sure. Our phone number, office is in Boca. The phone number is 561-544-6861.
Okay. We're going to come back, and I've got some children questions to ask you that are kind of interesting here. We'll be back with attorney Tina Lewert. Lewert Law. We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
Yeah.
And we're back. I'm sitting here talking to attorney Tina Lewert. her office is in Boca Raton. She is board certified family law. What we're doing is I got people to ask questions from Twitter, and I was shocked how many people had questions. Now, I don't know if they're all from Florida because you don't know with Twitter, but there's a lady.
Everybody's got something going on. Yeah.
So there's a lady who has a son, 27 years old, that lives with her. She wants him out of the house. Why does it take so long?
Why does it take so long?
Apparently, she's trying to get him out of the house, but she says it's not as easy when they're a relative.
Well, he's 27. He's an adult. I mean, I don't even know what she's like, what efforts she's making, or what what things she's undertaken to do that. But it's not.
It's not a restraining
order. It's not
order,
something
I guess.
really within the realm of what a family court judge would do.
Is it hard to get
adult.
a spouse or a husband out of the house?
That's a different story. That's hard. I don't know. Yeah, yes, it's not. It's not as simple as maybe some people think. Some people think that we're getting divorced, and if I tell him to leave, he has to leave. And no, that's not the case. So you'd either do that by filing a restraining order, and having it granted, or you would, within the divorce case, during the divorce case, it's a form of temporary relief. What we call, temporary relief, meaning interim relief while the case is pending. You can file what's called a motion for exclusive use and possession of the marital home, and you'd have to have a whole full-blown hearing on that with evidence and testimony, and set that before the court, and explain to the court why there's extreme amount of quarreling going on, or if it's affecting the children that are in the house. And typically people will make agreements and resolve that issue before it really gets to, I don't see a ton of hearings on that issue. But it's a common claim because, somebody's refusing to get out of the house, and it's hard, it's awkward, and it's not good for the kids, obviously.
So this one actually I relate to. What if you want to get a divorce, but the other party doesn't want the divorce?
That I see that a lot, and the short answer is, in Florida, if one person wants a divorce, it's going to happen.
Okay.
And
cannot stop it or prolong it.
You really can't. I mean, the only thing maybe you could do is when you file the other party petitions, you file your answer, your response, your responsive pleading, and you could allege, well, no, I don't agree that the marriage is broken. Because the petitioner has to allege, it's one of the requirements by Florida statute, to get a divorce, you have to allege that the marriage is irretrievably broken. And typically the responding party will say, yes, it is. In some cases, some people will say, no, I don't agree that it is, and I think we could save it and we could go to counseling. I've rarely, maybe once or twice in my entire career, seen this happen where you can have a hearing on that issue. The judge may say, okay, I'm going to find, that the party should go to counseling. I'll order that and abate the case, put it on hold until they do that. And, I don't give them 3 months, 6 months. But it really, rarely, if ever, happens. And, if one person wants it, it's going to happen.
Done deal.
Yeah.
What happens if my health benefits were provided by my soon-to-be ex-spouse's employer?
My health benefits, say it again?
So
we're soon to be
his spouse's employer, I guess.
Okay, so the employer is providing health benefits for both parties.
For both parties.
So what happens is, typically during the case, when a case is filed and it's pending, hopefully nothing changes, status quo. Keep the other spouse on the insurance. But once the divorce is finalized, couple of things. It depends on the employer. It depends on the benefits that the employer provides. If there's COBRA coverage, a spouse could be eligible to be covered under COBRA.
But then they got to pay for it themselves.
Well, somebody's got to pay for it. So that's part of the deal in the divorce. Either she's going to pay for it on her own, or he's going to pay for it as part of alimony, or the cost of it is going to be kind of factored into what her need is for alimony. But as a result of a divorce, COBRA is available for 36 months typically, and then that spouse would have to find their own coverage somewhere else. Or if there's no COBRA coverage, it's not an employer that has that available, then they have to find something else, and they have to find their own health coverage. And I tell people, get quotes, call your insurance agents and get some quotes to find out what it's going to cost. And if it's an alimony case, you want to definitely include the cost of health coverage and any uncovered medical expenses in your claim for alimony.
How does it feel when you've got a husband who doesn't want to take care of the kids, meaning pay for their medical? It's trying to get, and you're representing the wife.
Okay.
The husband is trying, not necessarily her, but the kids, because they're kind of stuck in the middle of this.
Yeah. You know,
Because you have a tough job with what you do.
Yeah. You know, I will tell you, luckily.
How do you not get emotionally involved?
You know, I think it's a good attorney's job not to get emotionally involved and not to.
You push that button, right?
It's important though. I mean, you still care. You still care about your client. You want, the outcome for them. You want, all lawyers, we all want justice, right, and we want what's right. We want what the law provides, or what we know the law provides for. And so you're fighting that fight for the client, but it's important, especially in this area of the law and with these kinds of cases going on, because the parties are already emotional. I mean, this is very personal to them, so it's important that the lawyers are not, and that they can still maintain the focus, because sometimes people are so involved. You're so involved that you don't see. Everything's fueled by emotion, and so. We can't. You can't do that. But if something is someone's doing something on the other side of the case or the other side of the table that's just not right, of course, it makes you want to fight harder for your client.
Of course.
But as far as that, I'll be honest. I don't see a ton of. Let's say dads who don't want to provide for their children.
Dads.
I don't see a lot of those.
Oh, that's good.
I've seen them, but I just don't see a lot. Most of the time, the guys are saying, you know what, I want to do the right thing. Sometimes they hear what it is, or if they realize like what the costs are going to be, and it's not just child support. Child support is actually not always a really big number. There are other costs, that are part of child support, child-related expenses that are in addition to whatever the child support formula might provide for, like health insurance,
right,
or aftercare
going
costs.
To college.
Going to college. People sometimes agree on that. I mean, there's no obligation in the law in Florida,
right,
but
they're still their kids.
The kids get older. They need cell phones. They need cars. They need car insurance. They get gym memberships. They go to camp. They go to tutoring. Who's going to pay for all this stuff? And so, these are things that sometimes people don't think of. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I have to share in that, and I have to pay X percentage of
right,
this. And it's like, well, that's what it is to have children. These are the costs that you would have anyway. But, I don't see a lot of people that are going, I don't want to do it. It's just,
that's good to know. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Now,
in my practice anyway.
You must have a heck of a checklist. The things that you have to go through that people would never think about.
Yeah.
Which is why you absolutely do not go in this without an attorney.
Yeah, the
checklist must be really long.
Yeah, and it's like doing this for so many years, you just know, and your brain just goes there. You're looking at things, and you're even when you're at mediation, you're negotiating a case, and you're trying to settle it, and we're drafting a settlement agreement, and especially when there are children involved, the things that we think of, that I would think of as the attorney doing this. Who, that my clients are like, oh, wow, I never thought of that.
Right.
I had somebody come to me just today and yesterday, and there was an issue where they did a settlement agreement, very simple case, themselves. And one of the parties came back later and said, wait a minute, we filed I filed my taxes now, filed my tax return, and I found out I have a gigantic liability that I have to pay, and we should file jointly and not separately. And there's nothing in the agreement about whether they're going to file jointly, separately, for what tax year, what they're going to do about a refund, a liability. I mean, these are the things that people are like, oh, wow, I never would have thought of that. Like, we have to deal with, filing federal income taxes. And so there's just things like that where I'm going, this is why, these are the things that a good lawyer thinks of, and the parties may not.
Tell me, we've got a few minutes left, what should people look for when they're looking for an attorney? Besides Tina Lewert.
Besides me. I always tell people, talk to several attorneys, because somewhere on that list of important things to look for an attorney is you have to feel comfortable. You have to feel comfortable with you're going to actually develop a kind of a one-on-one, a very personal relationship with your divorce attorney. I mean, typically, you're going to be talking about very personal things, all the most important things that are going to affect your future and your life and the lives of your children going forward. And so, you really have to feel comfortable and you have to feel like you can trust the person. And they should look for somebody who really does family law, and that's my recommendation to people. If you can find somebody who really does nothing else but family law, look for that.
So that's really the first thing they should look at.
It's a good thing to look for, yeah.
And then when you start the interview process, do you get along with them? Do you feel comfortable with them? Because you're going to be relaying a lot of personal things.
Yeah, and some of it is, personality. I mean, different lawyers have different styles. Different lawyers have different levels of aggressiveness and assertiveness and different kinds of negotiating skills, different tactics and strategies, and different lawyers strategize different ways. And so it's important, that you're sort of on board and on the same page. And I always tell my clients, I like to educate them about what the law is. Here's the law, so that, on whatever particular topic, so that when, why we're doing something or not doing something or pursuing a course of action or not, which way we're going. And I like to work with my clients.
So you explain as you go along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything that, comes up, if we're here are the options. If we go this way, this could be good. If we go that way, it could be bad, or it could be, and then recommend something. And then ultimately, it's a decision. The decisions on how to pursue the case and what courses of action to take are decisions that the client and the attorney should be making together with the attorney's skill and experience and knowledge and all that stuff. So that's what I think is important. And I always tell people, you have to feel comfortable. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing. I mean, I think that's obvious, but also to feel comfortable, like you can kind of be on board with that attorney.
About 7-8 months ago, Renee and I were driving around. We got an email on our phone, and it said, "That family attorney is so sweet." And Renee and I looked at each other. I said, "You know what? I'll bet you she's a real tiger when it comes to the
that
courtroom."
Family attorney, yeah. Well,
and when you're litigating, you cannot.
You know what? Yeah, I think the best attorneys are the attorneys that can do both. And it's not being sweet. I mean, yes, I'm professional. I'm cordial. I have good relationships with my colleagues, with my opposing counsels. I have a good. I like it when I have an opposing counsel who we can work together to try to settle a case. When you don't, you have to go there and you have to be aggressive.
We have to get ready for your next show.
Oh my gosh,
it's from last month. It's a
Double
really
whammy.
great show. Yes. Give everybody your phone number and your website.
Sure. 561-544-6861, and the website is www.lewertlaw.com.
Man, I love doing this show with you. It is so easy. And we'll see you next month with Tina Lewert. We're going to have a pre-recorded show now. Stand by. It's another one of our great shows.
Last month was a good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Anyhow, we'll see you next week. Peace and love. We'll talk to you soon.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters. .com.
And we are back with more Ask the Experts, the award-winning.
But you forgot the name of the show.
I did. We have another show that we do in the mornings called the Steve and Renee Show, and I just said, tell me you heard it on the Steve and Renee, and people probably scratching their head. You know what? We were just sitting here talking. We have Tina Lewert with us. She's an attorney. She is a certified family attorney.
Board certified.
Board certified.
No, that's right. You can correct him. I do it all the time.
I never do anything wrong. You ever heard that before?
No,
never. We're sitting here talking, and Tina had a client about a year ago who did not have an attorney, and she tried to handle it all herself. Please tell people why that's not a good idea.
The right thing to do.
Bad idea. And it was interesting because this person came to me and I saw the judgment, the final judgment from what had happened. It was a custody case, and I read it and I'm going, Oh no! And obviously something went wrong where either she screwed it up for herself, or the judge for some reason just didn't like what he was hearing from her, and she it didn't go well. And I don't know what happened. Is there something an attorney could have done? Did she not know what she was doing? Did she not know the right things to argue? Did she not know what case law to present the court?
Well, she's
of course
not an
not. Nobody
attorney.
goes in
Right.
So then, you have people calling. I have people calling me saying, oh, I lost this, and then I tried to appeal and I lost that. And it's like, well, okay, well, I can't fix it now. I could have helped you back then. But
I didn't know that people actually go and try to do it themselves.
Sometimes.
Well, I think people try to save the money, but in the long run, you end up losing.
Well, and the other party had an attorney. And so that's even worse. Yeah. So it's a little frightening.
Tell everybody about your law practice.
Sure. So I specialize in family law. So that encompasses divorce, child custody, child support, alimony. We do modifications of alimony, modifications of child custody, child support. We do restraining orders. We do we draft prenuptial agreements and postnuptial agreements and cohabitation agreements and things like that. And or sort of all aspects of what we would call family law, and that's what I specialize in.
In Florida, how many family attorneys are board certified?
There are a few more that just became board certified this year, but I think only something like 5 this year. So total.
And then some drop off. Wait,
some drop off. Well, maybe they I don't know. They pass away or something. I don't know. something like 300 attorneys around that number. I have to look it up. I can look it up and find out the exact number. I have to do that for next time. But out of there are 102,000 attorneys in the state of Florida. So only 300.
So about 30%. About 70% are not board certified.
No, like 99%. 300 people.
Oh, that's it.
Well, no, okay, sorry. 300 people are board certified in marital and family law.
Yes.
I think it's something like 1% are board certified in any area.
It's a very low percentage.
So it's a very low
So tell people
percent.
what the difference is between being a certified attorney versus not.
Yeah, and it's important. And people don't know because there are all kinds of awards and designations and different things. And this isn't something that you write a check and join a society and you're board certified. There are some of those, but this is a designation by the Florida Bar. And it's the only designation of being an expert. So the Florida Bar considers you, if you're board certified, to be an expert, to be a specialist. I believe only board certified attorneys can actually say that they are experts or specialists. Like even if you solely practice family law, if you're not board certified, you're not supposed to say I specialize.
Specialize, right?
Yeah, or I'm an expert in the area. So. With good reason. So board certified attorneys have a lot of trial experience. They have to show the board, it's a committee, the board certification committee, but they have to prove the cases they've done, how many complex cases they've had.
So there's a lot of criteria,
there's a lot of experience, and
it's
qualifications. And then of course, you have to get judicial recommendations, peer recommendations. You have to take a really, really hard exam, and a lot of people don't pass it the first time or don't ever pass it. So it's a big deal, and when you get that, it's an honor. It's a huge honor. It's a celebration, and it's a big it's a big iconic moment in your practice. So that is a big deal, and it's an indication to the public that this person, like I said, is an expert. They know their stuff. They know family law. Or whatever it is. They could be board certified in criminal law. They could be board certified in civil trial work. So whatever the area of practice, board certified attorney is. I want people to
understand, just because you are board certified doesn't mean your prices are sky high.
I know, because as soon as people hear that, they say, "Oh, she must be expensive," but that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I will be honest. The Florida Bar does tell us we can charge more if you're board certified. And some of us are, there are some out there that are very expensive. There are some out there that are not board certified that are very, very expensive. So you just kind of have to do some research and figure out, well, what's the going rate? What's the middle of the road? And if you can find some board certified attorneys that are still within their qualifications and experience, very reasonable.
Like yourself.
Like myself, of course.
What is there a such thing as legal separation?
No.
There's
not
no
in Florida. Not in Florida anyway. So, no, and I get that question a lot.
I ask you every time we do the show.
I get people calling me saying, what if I just do a legal separation? I say, no, can't do that. Nope, sorry.
Well, so if you're not living, that have that?
I'm not even sure. Maybe, and maybe that's where people get it from. But if you're not living together in the state of Florida, and you're married, the court considers you or whatever, you're considered to be separated.
What happens if the husband leaves?
Mm-hmm.
You change the locks.
But can he just come back in because he's making the mortgage payments?
No matter who's making the mortgage payments or if the mortgage is paid off, no matter if somebody moves out, they can come in and actually. You can't change the locks, Renee.
I know that.
So I know
that.
Yeah.
I was saying, joking around.
Unless there's a court order saying that the person who's in the house has what they call exclusive use and possession of the house, or if there's a restraining order. Yeah, so there are only certain circumstances under which you could change the locks. But yeah, I mean, people can be separated. I get questions a lot like, should I stay? Should I go? If I leave, am I is somebody going to argue I'm abandoning the house or am I abandoning
let me just tell you
the
something
children?
that is in New York. That was the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you got divorced in New York. I mean, we're in Florida, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, you can't tell by my accent, but I'm just saying, in New York, if you leave the house, that's called abandonment. In Florida, that's not the case because it doesn't matter if you live in the house or you leave.
Right.
And a lot of people think that's
A
that's
lot
the
of
case.
people
It's
think
not.
that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes I talk to people and they're relieved when they find out, so we're arguing fighting like cats and dogs and we're, about to kill each other. So I can move out to kind of avoid that and keep the peace while this is pending. Okay, great.
Because people think that you're forced to live together, but that's not it.
And I'll tell people, listen, even if if first of all, it's terrible for the kids.
Yes.
No matter how old they are, how young they are, it's terrible for the kids. And I'll tell people, even if you have to go sleep on someone's couch for a while or just to be away, because what else I've seen is people get so emotional, obviously, during this, and they're just so emotionally fueled. And if you've never, typically you've never, you don't, know your spouse, but you don't know them in this situation. So you don't necessarily know how they're going to react, what they're capable of, what they might do. And I've seen people just turn and they will make up stories. He hit me, she scratched me, whatever, and they'll call the police and make up a story, and somebody gets arrested for domestic violence, domestic battery, and there's an arrest. And, it's so I have people going, yeah, this person's becoming really erratic and belligerent, and I don't know, they're making threats or they're saying weird things. I'll say, move out, just go.
That's why it's a good thing. Can I tell you something?
That.
Yeah, that's why it's a good thing that they don't have that ruling here. That's abandonment because you know what? Being somebody that went through a divorce, it's the worst thing possible to live with somebody. Once they get the papers that you want a divorce. I mean, typically it's one person that wants the divorce, and then there's a lot of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to live with that.
Yeah.
No.
How do you determine, because we're talking about domestic violence, do they hire a family attorney or a criminal attorney?
So
that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. So there are a couple things. So in my example that I used, someone punches someone else. The cops get called. The abuser, the puncher, whoever it was,
punchy,
puncher. So that person gets taken, or gets arrested. Now that's a criminal charge.
Okay.
So they get arrested for domestic battery, and that's a criminal case.
They wouldn't call you for that.
Well, they wouldn't call me for that necessarily, or they might. Some family law attorneys might, decide to take that. I personally don't. I would refer that to someone else, a criminal attorney. But in addition to that, if there's like a divorce going on or about to happen, and there are children involved, or whatever the case may be, I may say, okay, we have to file a restraining order against the person who hit the other person.
So you would file the restraining.
That's family law attorney would do that, and that's in the unified family court. So that's in it's a civil court. So it's a different thing. It's not a criminal action. It's a civil domestic violence injunction. So different so there could be two cases pending at once: the criminal and then a civil case.
Yeah,
actually three, and then the divorce because it's a separate case.
I've got so many questions today. So what if your son's living with you, or your daughter? Doesn't matter. And you're having problems, and you want to kick them out. Do you get an attorney for that to get the person removed? Because I heard it's very hard to do.
The spouse,
the son.
Oh, the son.
But that's not a divorce. That's a family issue, is it? That's more of
Is that a family issue or?
How old is the son?
What are we talking about? Is this a personal issue?
Child or
no, 18, 19. You're living with your parents, and they can't handle you anymore. They want to kick you out of the house, but they don't want to leave.
But that would be a family attorney.
Nothing.
Because we heard it's very hard.
It's an ejectment.
Yeah. I think that.
And that's not
that's
family
a different
law
doesn't
kind of
follow.
thing.
No, not. I've never handled that, but yeah, I've heard I've heard those stories a million times.
I mean, there's people right now going, yeah, I'm having that problem.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, give everybody your phone number.
Sure, it's 561-544-6861.
Okay, so let's get into child support.
Okay.
Because this is always the question of the day. How is child support determined?
Child support's a formula, and there's a statute. Florida statute 6130 governs child support, 61.30. And so it's based on, the starting point is both parties' incomes. And, we start with it's actually determined based on net income. So net income after your tax deductions and your own health insurance premium.
So
and
it is
your
net income.
Yeah, net income. And there's a formula based on, in the statute, there's actually a chart, and, based on how many children you have. And, so they'll say, okay, your husband and wife's income together is X. And based on that number and this many children, 3 children, here's the number. Here's the number in the chart that the legislature has figured out. This is what it costs this couple to raise these kids. And then that number is actually apportioned between them. And then there's another deviation for how many overnights per year each party has with the kids.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because now you told me last time you were here, you were telling me about, it's now not that the mother has the kids, the father's picking them up every other weekend, that now the courts have been it's pretty much split custody. That they're going back and forth.
There are a lot of 50-50s. It's not the law yet. It's
Is it going to be?
They tried to make it the law. It didn't pass.
Because then how would you make that determination, if you're making for child support? So if the kid is split between the father and the mother, then how would you make that determination? Then the mother's really not entitled to that much money because the father has to
that's the thing. The more overnight, the closer, I guess, the closer to equal to 50-50 the time sharing is, the less child support's going to be. So, but for example, if you have 50-50 time sharing, then, you plug in those numbers, and actually it comes out, it's not equal. It has to. There's 180. Somebody's getting 182 nights a year, and somebody's getting 183 nights a year, because it adds up to 365. And so you'd put that into the formula. But then if somebody's earning more than the other, the person earning more is probably going to pay the other person.
Does health insurance
it's probably a very small number. It could be a couple $100 a month. It depends on their incomes, but it could be very small.
Does health insurance go into that formula?
Yeah, the kids' health insurance and who's paying it goes into there. So if the father is paying the kids' health insurance, that number goes in the premiums for just the kids, and he actually gets a credit somewhere in the equation for her share.
Okay.
For her share of the health insurance for the wife.
Yeah, somewhere in there that her portion is worked into the equation. So yeah, if that may reduce, that may reduce. Well, yeah, if he's paying her, that would reduce what she's getting. But it may work out. Sometimes it works out to zero. But 50-50 time sharing doesn't always mean zero child support. A lot of people think that. It really has to do with some of the other financial,
because
factors.
I know we have to go to the break because I have questions. I always have questions. Okay, so let's go to the break.
Okay, we're here with attorney Tina Lewert, family law, board certified family law, and her office is in Boca Raton, but she handles Broward and Palm Beach, and we will be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
And we're back. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert. She's been with us for a long time, and she's with us every month for Ask the Experts. And now I'm going to just turn it over to Miss I got a question. Wait.
No, because we were talking about child support. Is alimony still? Can people still get alimony in the state of Florida?
Oh,
Because-
yeah.
Oh, they can.
Absolutely.
But
Somebody
there was a
told
new
me.
law. There was something new.
It
that
didn't
got,
pass.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They were-
Because
the governor,
They
right?
weren't trying to
Turned it
take
down?
alimony away. They were trying to create a formula for it, and for the most part, do away with permanent alimony. But that it didn't pass.
So you think somebody could
Well,
get
the governor
permanent-
vetoed it.
Yes,
so
the
let's
governor-
Okay,
just
so
say
I
that
have to
way, yeah.
ask, what is the determining factor whether or not you get alimony?
There are many determining factors.
Okay, so let's hear some of that.
Yeah, and
Because I want to know why I got no alimony.
Oh, sorry. Unlike
So they use Tina.
Unlike child support, there's no formula. So child support is a right of the children. It's mandatory. There's a statutory guideline formula. Like I said, it's mandatory, and technically, child support can't even be waived because it's part of the statute. So, but alimony is very discretionary, and so the factors that are in the alimony statute are just that. They're factors. They're things to consider. And weigh, and each judge has to do that in an alimony case. So when somebody's asking for alimony, so there's no formula, but it's so for the first thing usually we look at is the length of the marriage. Currently the law is if you're 17 years or more, you're in what's considered a long-term marriage. If you're less than 7 years, you're considered a short-term marriage, and if you're in between, you're a moderate-term marriage. So what does that mean? Short-term marriage is generally you may get what we call bridge the gap alimony, a couple of years at the most to kind of bridge the gap from married life to single life, get you through. Moderate-term marriage, you're usually be asking for what we call durational alimony, which is for a certain set period of time, and a long-term marriage, there's a presumption of permanent alimony, which is until either party dies or the recipient remarries. But as far as the financially, it just depends. If the incomes are disparate, if the husband's making $500,000 a year and the wife's making $10,000 a year, she's going to get alimony. And because the whole point is to provide for the recipient beyond bare subsistence levels. Like they have to be able to live after this marriage.
Right, and I think that's
what if it's the other way around?
Well, it could be either way. Either way, but I'm just saying, especially if somebody.
I don't mean to be gender biased in my example.
But,
Sorry.
I mean, could a
That's
male
simply the
get?
case.
Absolutely.
Male could get.
Yep,
Okay.
I've gotten that before. At
And the
trial.
thing is, if once person, like I'm saying, wife, for instance, I'm just using
Yes.
wife, but I'm saying if she's been with, in the marriage, taking care of the children, and her husband's been working all throughout the years,
Right.
and she's just working part time, absolutely, I think that she doesn't. She should get
and
alimony.
that's one of the factors in the alimony statute is contributions toward the marriage, sacrifices
Yes.
that one party made to their own career for the sake of the marriage and staying home, raising the children, supporting the other spouse, so they could go out and work and do their thing, and that's a very typical argument. So all those things, and then of course you look at age and physical health. I mean, if somebody's got a disability and they're never going to be able to go out and work, I mean, you might have somebody who's in a shorter term marriage, but they might be asking for permanent alimony because of a disability. So that's sort of a special circumstance. If you have somebody who's getting divorced at age 35 versus getting divorced at age 65, that's a different level of employability,
Right.
when they're
No,
going
absolutely,
out
yeah.
into the job market and saying, okay, let me get a job, or let me whatever they're doing, whether they're retraining or going back to school or
Starting
rehabilitating
their life
themselves
all
to
over,
start over.
right.
Yeah. So those are all things that they take into consideration. There are a whole list of factors in the alimony statute, and it's weird because I hate to say this, but I say this all the time, and I've heard other attorneys say it. You could put the same alimony case in front of 5 different judges and potentially get 5 different outcomes because it's very
Really?
discretionary.
So can you pick your judge?
No.
You can't?
You can't. No. They assign them randomly, and the
Because then
only way.
you would know the best judges to go to for your clients.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
But the only usually the only way to get a judge off the case is if either there's some conflict of interest, like the judge personally, or somebody something like that, or
Right.
if the judge does something that's so crazy and outrageous and makes some totally biased comment or something, you can but no, you can't pick your
You
judge.
know who deserves alimony? My dad. My dad would tell my mom, "I do not want you to work. I want you to stay at home and be a mom." So all these years, they were married 30 years. She never worked. And then when they got a divorce, it was like, she's like 60-something years old. And, he told me not to work. Someone like that, I think, deserves permanent alimony.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and there's a little bit of a problem with that. It depends. It depends on, like I said, if you're getting divorced at age, something in your 60s versus something in your 30s or 40s, it's different level of employability. The girls getting divorced in their 30s, I hear that too. He told me he didn't want me to work. He wanted me to stay home, and it's like, okay, but that was your agreed upon arrangement during the marriage. Now. It's a divorce.
Now get a
Everything's
job.
changing,
Now,
and the
this is
judge
life.
will.
Yeah,
the
get a
judge will
job.
tell them to get a job.
Right.
You have to get a job.
Yes.
I wonder litigating for
I
me.
know. I'm bringing her out.
Do you enjoy litigating?
I do. It's I'm not. It's stressful and it's a lot, and but yeah, it's kind of fun.
Well, you deal, something. First of all, also in your practice, you deal with so many emotions, more so than I think any other, area of law.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think family law is for every attorney. There are a lot of attorneys that do other kinds of work that say to me, "How do you do this?" I can't.
It's exhausting.
It's true. You have to have a very thick skin, and you have to have a very unique sort of outlook on just in general relationships and the world and all that and life and yeah, as far as the emotional stuff, I mean, you can't let that bring you down or affect you in a certain way. I mean, you can be compassionate and empathetic with towards your clients, and I think family law attorneys are. I mean, there's a reason. Some of us, if we dug deep, there's a reason some of us are doing this. But
family attorneys who no longer practice family law,
Yeah.
they went into something. They said, I could not take it.
It's tough. It really is tough.
Yeah.
And as much as you say you don't want to get emotionally attached, unfortunately, you start feeling for somebody,
Yeah, well, you want to get what you're, just like any litigator, you want what your client wants. You want that for them.
Right.
You want to get the outcome for them, and it is, and it's important to it's usually you're dealing with issues that are the most important people or important
Children,
issues in people's
finances,
lives.
your
Their
house.
children, where they're going to live, how much money they're going to have to live on. I mean, this is everything to
The
some
list
people.
is long.
So yeah,
When you're sitting down talking
yeah.
with some things that we would probably never even think of, and that's why it's so important to have an attorney that knows what they're doing.
A certified attorney, an expert,
Board-certified
in family law. But let me just also, we were talking about the house. You just mentioned about the house because a lot of people ask that question as well. What happens? I mean, sometimes the wife wants to stay in the house with the kids because she does, the fact that they're splitting up is emotional enough for the kids, so she doesn't want to put that aspect in it. So she wants to stay in the house. So what happens in that respect if the wife wants to stay in the house, but she can't afford it and she's not getting enough, child support or alimony? I mean,
It
is there
depends.
anything?
The court can award her, excuse me, sorry. The court can award her exclusive use of the home with the children as an element, as an aspect of child support. But
Meaning that the husband would have to pay like the mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or pay enough for
To
for that stuff
supplement
to be
it, yeah.
supported. Yeah, but it really depends because it depends on if that's financially feasible. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of cases, especially after the recession, where maybe the house is like the only asset that they have of the marriage, and there's nothing else to divide, and they need the money to move. And the court may say, listen, you better sell this house now and split the money. And everybody just has to deal with moving to someplace new. And yeah, of course, the goal is, yes, it's preferable not to have to disrupt the children, to uproot them, to
They're in
disturb
school,
their
you don't wanna
continuity, their
move
school
them,
district, all that stuff, of course. But sometimes it's unavoidable. So if that's financially feasible, yes, I see a lot fewer claims for that, though, after the recession than I did, because just things are different. People's finances are different, and
Because
they don't
every
have the
time I
same
see
assets
anybody,
that they had.
anybody I know, they're all getting divorced and they have to sell the house. It's like
Yeah.
they're told they have to sell the house.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
God, this time
Goes
went
so
by so
quick.
fast.
I know.
Let's give everybody your phone number again and your website. You got a great website.
Thank you. The phone number is 561-544-6861, and the website is www.lewertlaw.com, Lewert law.
Tell people where you locate also.
Yeah, my office is in Boca, on the corner of Yamato and Dixie. They just changed the name on the front of the building, the Seaman Holtz building. I saw
It's a really nice building.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
It was the Spectrum
It was
or something? What was it?
a
No.
bank. It was Seagate.
Yeah.
Something like that.
No, but it's really
that's
nice inside. The building's really pretty inside.
Yeah,
I like
it's a
that.
beautiful building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
happy
easy
there.
right off of 95.
Yep.
off of Federal, but you also handle cases in Broward, though, too.
Yeah, all the time, because we're right on that line, so I have a lot of cases in both counties.
And you offer free consultations, right? Somebody can come and talk.
It depends. Sometimes if people want me to review documents and come in for like a longer consultation, we'll charge for the time. That's typical with a lot.
So if you're going to come in for
But-
longer than 30 seconds.
Right, you have, it's like a 5-minute consultation. If you have a few questions.
No, usually I will talk to people over the phone quite a bit, though, yeah. Yeah.
Like you did today.
That's right.
So, you know, if you're in Broward, sometimes it's better to go a few extra miles to get someone you know is going to be good. And don't Google for an attorney. That's what we have this show here for. You don't, something this important, you don't Google for a family law attorney. It's Tina Lewert Law. Phone number one more time.
Phone number is 561-544-6861.
That's it for us today.
That's it.
We will be back next week from 5 to 6 with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful week. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert Show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those